Now let's move on to the next section, that is wall of love. For these, we're gonna have to use um, the carousel. So yeah, I'm gonna show you how to do that. Let's just copy this component first. Figma to HTML, copy to clipboard, select the desktop and paste. Now I think everything looks fine in this one, except maybe this let's set this color to transparent. Let's add the stroke. We can set it to black and that looks fine. Actually not black. Let's set it to the same color that we have on the other one. So let's set this, oops, let's set this to this one. Okay, now we also need to turn this into a carousel. So I think what we can do is select all these, maybe move them out, and we can move the individual containers out of these. That's because for a carousel, you don't have to put them in a single container. So I'm going to delete these. And yeah, let's go ahead and add a carousel. So I'm going to go to insert and slideshow carousel. We can use carousel or we can actually use ticker. I think a ticker would be much better. So yeah, let's okay. So we have, so since we have two lines of tickers, I think we have to add two tickers here. So I'm gonna duplicate this, and basically I'm just gonna select the first ones. Actually, I need to select the containers, and then I'm gonna move them into the first one, and then I'm gonna select the rest of the containers, and then I can move them into the second one. We can get rid of this container. All right, now let's go to this section and let's make sure they are fill and this one as well. Do we have, yeah, they're a bit offset from each other. So we can also add padding. Let's add padding. We add padding. All right, we can't. What if we add it on top of the container? Mm, Okay, so instead of having an automated height, let's just give it a fixed height. So I'm just gonna make it 220 pixels. Let's make both of these the same height. And there's a bit extra space in these. So what we can do is maybe we have 80 pixel spacing here and we can actually group these, and then we can remove the cap. So yeah, I think we have the same spacing now, and there's also 80 pixel spacing in between. And now we should, actually, I think we should remove the horizontal padding from this one, just so these containers can actually fill the entire space and go off the screen. Now, what we can do is we have to make sure they start with a certain offset. So speed, hover, direction, draggable. I think the way we can do that is maybe by having a little bit different speed, because I don't see an option for setting the offset. So let's actually play and see how the ticker looks. Yeah, this looks fine. If one of them is going a bit faster, they eventually have separate offsets. Alternatively, what we can do is have one of these go the other direction. So we can make this one go into the right direction, and we can maybe have this one go into the left direction. Now, the bigger ones are on the top, so I'm going to move these here, and I think that looks okay. Now, let me go ahead and quickly rename these. All right, so I just renamed all the components in this one, and I'm just going to collapse it and move on to the next section. So this needs to have 240 pixel padding, not 80 pixel. So let's go ahead and set the right padding to 240 and left padding to 240. Now that looks fine. We just have to make sure this other label, where is it? Okay, it's this one. So we have to put this in here. So I think what we can do is maybe just make it absolute and put it on the top. Move it a bit down. We could probably do the same with this one. I don't really think it matters. And is there anything else missing? Nope, it looks pretty much the same, except the background. So let me just copy the background from this section and put it in here. And yeah, I think this section is complete. There's nothing else to do. We will come back to the styles later because we have to fix those anyway. But for now, I'm just going to rename this again, just so we can easily spot and make changes later, because we're going to have to apply the styles and everything. So yeah. All right. So I just went ahead and renamed all of these components, and I can just collapse them and move on to the next section. Now let's go to the Figma and copy the next component. You see, it's really easy to just export all the components from Figma. Sometimes it doesn't work, but that's fine because we also have workarounds. Like we can just copy these individual components. So what we can do now, because this section also has the same pattern background, I know it's not going to work with the export tool. So I'm just gonna export this container individually. So let me go ahead and export this, copy, and I'm going to go back to Framer, add the extra frame here and move it to the desktop section. Let me give it the fill width, and then I can paste my component. Now let's go do the same for the other container. So Figma to HTML, copy to clipboard, go to Framer, paste. Now let's set this to layout with vertical direction. We can also give it a fit content height. And I reckon we have to add 80 pixel padding. We also have to add 80 pixel gap. And I think the other thing is we have to fix this background. So let's make it absolute. Give it the z index of 0. And let's move it behind this word challenges. And I think this looks fine. Okay, let me just quickly make sure. So there is one thing off. Okay, so I just renamed the whole section, and I think now we can move on to the next one. And the next one is the pricing section. So this one is also really simple. I think we can easily export this since it doesn't have any patterns on the background. So let's select this and click Figma to HTML, copy, and let's select the desktop and paste this in. And yeah, let me check what's missing. Nothing really. We already have Flexbox containers. And yeah, I think all we have to do is name these containers and elements the way they are supposed to be. So let me just quickly rename them. All right, so I just went ahead and renamed all the cards and everything. And I think we are good to go. So let me also quickly add the next sections, and then we can move on to actually setting up the styles and animating for the desktop variant. So let's go ahead and set up the next section. That is this meet the makers. I am not sure it's gonna export with the background patterns. So again, I'm gonna just export the individual containers. I'm gonna add an F frame. Let me put it here. Set the width to fill based on the exported content. Let's go back to Figma and select the next container. Figma to HTML, copy, and then we can just paste it in. Now we have to move this up, add the flex layout with vertical direction. Let's make this fit content. Let's also add 80 pixel padding, and everything looks okay except we have the shadows on these cards, which we don't really need. So yeah, let me actually fix this padding first. So make this absolute. Let's move this behind the text makers. And let's give it the z index of 0. And okay, this looks fine. And let's make sure we have the same spacing. That is 80 pixels again. So 80 pixel gap. And let's go to the containers, remove the shadows, remove the shadows, and remove the shadows, and again remove the shadows. We still have the shadows on the circle containers, but they're also being cut off. So I think what we have to do is maybe add some padding into this. Actually, we can maybe add 20 pixel. It doesn't really matter. So 20 pixel, 20 pix, 20 pixel, and 20 pixel. Okay, so now this looks almost identical. The only thing we need to add is the background. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy the same background, put it into this one, and that's it. We have our next section. Now let me also quickly just rename everything.